Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. As today we got another episode of reviewing NHL teams offseason so far. As today we're going to be talking about the Seattle Kraken and their quite of a weird roster build that they got going on, as they were able to pick up Bjorkstrand and an absolute steal of a deal, Burakovsky, and much more. But before we hop into this, I'd like to just say, if you aren't new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. It'll be very much appreciated. And if you'd like to see some early and members only content, I would definitely recommend going and checking out the Boys Club, where everyone is welcome. Come and check it out, as we got some exclusive videos, some early uploads that go up on there as well, and you get some cool emotes to celebrate with when I start doing some good old live streams when the hockey season starts back up. So instead of me advertising myself, let's get into talking about the Seattle Kraken and their weird offseason. They did a lot this year, and I don't know if they're really trying to go for, a playoff run this year or what. But let's get into talking about it. I don't want to waste any time, because quite honestly, their offensive core looks quite good. I'm really excited to see what their offensive core will be able to do, but defensively, I think there's some kind of a concern that I want to raise up towards their defensive core, because I think, and their, goaltending with Grubauer and Drigger, like, it's definitely not a good tandem that they got going on right there, and they struggled immensely last year. So let's get into talking about the very first thing, which was the draft, and talk about their wowzers of a draft. This was probably their bread and butter. This was the best draft that I think anybody was able to get this past year, getting Shane Wright, which was a steal at that. He dropped down to 4th overall. This was a guy that was talked about being a generational guy, kind of fell off the map a little bit and dropped down 3 picks, and the Seattle Kraken were given a pretty good guy to go up one up with Matty Beniers. So a great 1-2 punch up the center core for the future of the Seattle Kraken. So I really love the move in getting Shane Wright. Like, it is amazing. But not just that, they got Jagger Fergus, Jan Nyman, David Jogot, I'm probably saying all these names wrong, and Ty Nielsen. All these guys are absolutely amazing picks. First of all, Fergus, I was really excited about this guy. I thought the Oilers should have went after him. He's a small little guy, absolutely insanely good offensive wise. Just a really small little pesky guy who plays really good on the wing. He jumped up immensely this past season, who produced 80 points in 66 games. Just looked really good. Yanni Nyman also looked really good there in the Finnish league as well. Did quite well in the World Juniors. Holinka Gretzky Cup, he did quite well. Another great little offensive guy, actually bigger offensive guy, Yanni Nyman. So a great pick there. David Jogot, Joyet, I think it's a French name, so I'm probably butchering it, but playing the World Juniors, another great offensive guy, but really good draft. You get a great two-way guy out of Shane Wright, and then some really good offensive pieces for the future for the Kraken. And you already look at their prospect system with, Matty Beniers being there now, and now getting a really good draft underneath your books. The very first one, you weren't able to get a whole lot. This year, they really got a whole lot of picks coming into this draft, and they were able to get some really good draft picks, and I really enjoyed what they did. So we'll move into the trades, which, wowzers, what a steal of a deal. They got Oliver Bjorkstrand for legit a 3rd and a 4th round pick. That is it for a great two-way guy who produces 50 points basically per game, and that's what he will be doing over the next few years. Bjorkstrand, I think he'll definitely be easily able to produce 50 points per game, because Bjorkstrand is amazing. This is an amazing player for the Seattle Kraken that they just picked up, who played really good defensively. He's a guy that, gets around 16, 17 minutes per game, but will most likely be a top-line guy, I feel, for the Seattle Kraken. Either that or a second-line guy this upcoming season, with just how good Bjorkstrand is. I think this was an amazing pickup and an absolute steal, without a doubt, for the Seattle Kraken in this deal. Amazing move by Ron Francis, able to notice, hey, the Columbus are tight on the cap. They can make an easy deal with them, and they certainly did. So, amazing move by the Kraken there. And then we'll talk about the free agent pickups, and they weirdly went after Martin Jones. Now they have 3 goalies under contract with Drigger, Grubauer, and now Martin Jones. I don't know why they're going with 3 goalies. I don't know if they're going to be trading away at one of them or what the heck are they doing. I'm not too sure why they picked up Martin Jones. Maybe one of them injured. I really don't know why they went with this kind of way of going with another goalie that's going to cost him another $2 million. Maybe they're skeptical on if Drigger or Grubauer will actually be fit to play in the NHL, or maybe they're thinking, hey, if we pick up Martin Jones, this can create some competition and maybe make either Grubauer or Drigger actually perform a lot better as well. So I think that's kind of the move is what they're thinking about. And then Justin Schultz, this was kind of a mind-boggling move. Tiers at $3 million. I really don't think Justin Schultz is really worth that right now. He really is a top 6 defenseman. He passes the puck, and that's really all he does. He does not play very well defensively. He's all right 5-on-5 offensively, but the main thing he does is move the puck, and that's all he really does. So I don't really like the move for the defensive core when the defensive core is already pretty weak, and you're spending $3 million on a guy that is not very good defensively and really can only pass the puck. Not a great move by Ron Francis. But then he followed it up with signing Andre Burakovsky for the next 5 years at 5.5, and this is another guy that I like a lot. I think he was played really good for Colorado. He's a decent offensive producer. Do I think he's going to do amazing on Kraken? I think he'll do all right. He does really well 5-on-5 wise. Definitely not amazing defensively, but I could see him producing like 50, 60 points per season for the Seattle Kraken, getting about 20 goals. Yeah, like I said, I could see this guy getting like 20 goals per season, quite honestly. Like, he's a pretty good player who, generates some offense, gets some goal scoring going. So I think this is a really good pickup for the Seattle Kraken, getting an offensive guy, which really, honestly, they didn't have a whole lot of big offensive guys. You really look at what they got. Jared McCann, Eberle, Yanni Gourde were really their only 3 20 goal scorers throughout the season. So getting another extra 20 goal scorer in Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand, I think are really, really good pickups looking at it. So moving forward, but for Burakovsky, they really didn't get a whole lot of other guys. They got Geeky and Donato to some contracts, but otherwise not a whole lot of other moves there for the Kraken. So pretty okay offseason for the Kraken. Now, I don't know really what they're going for here, if they're really just trying to go and try to build up their team as quick as they can. So maybe they feel Matty Beniers, which I think Matty Beniers is ready to really take a full top 6 type of minutes this upcoming season. I think Matty Beniers will do really good. And then Shane Wright, who I don't know if he'll be ready this year, but I think he could be even ready next year. But I think he's going to be a big prospect for the Seattle Kraken moving forward. So you could honestly, you could maybe even look at maybe trading away a Yanni Gourde or Alexander Winberg or one of these guys, right? You can move some guys to maybe pick up some defensemen. Just right now, I think it's really hard to find a defenseman to go after and pick him up. And quite honestly, they really don't even have any big defensive prospects coming up the pipeline. So I think even the Kraken should be taking a look at a guy like Chychrun, to be quite honest with you, and maybe even trying to swing a deal for him. But I think with the Kraken right now, I think they're just taking the slow approach of slowly building this team up, doing bargain deals like the Bjorkstrand, and if they have to move out one of the guys, they will. I don't really see this team as a playoff team just because of the fact that I don't really like their defensive core very much. And I do like their offensive core, but the goaltending is really what drags it down, I feel. So my grading for this past offseason for the Kraken, I think I'm going to give it, I really, really love their draft. I think their draft really takes it home. Burakovsky's signing was really good. Bjorkstrand trade was a steal. Justin Schultz was really the only bad contract. So quite honestly, I'm going to give him a straight A. The draft was amazing. The only thing that's really pushing me away from A+, I think, is the Justin Schultz contract. And yeah, that's really about it. I'm not a really big fan of the Justin Schultz contract. It really doesn't, I don't think it improves the team. But once again, there wasn't a whole lot of amazing defensemen in this past free agency, and I said that a lot throughout this series so far because there wasn't a whole lot of amazing defensemen. So Justin Schultz was probably their best pickup that they could possibly can get. But yeah, A for this Seattle Kraken on their past offseason. And tell me, guys, in the comment section below what you guys thought of the Seattle Kraken offseason. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Adios, amigos.